So in the time that I've followed, I've been an observer for a period of time, and I kind of watched what's happened and gotten involved when I've been able to get involved. And then when I did get involved, I knew it was a long game, and I kind of have like a ride or die personality. So, so most of my decisions in life are based on like long term. I don't believe in like the get rich quick schemes or hacks. I hate hacks.
Well, I hate that term. There is no such thing as a hack. And I think it was quite funny after, because most people knew us back in 2020 when the pandemic hit, as the page giving away just unspoken amounts of, cash, gift cards, supporting the businesses. The moment we stopped doing that a year later, everybody stopped. I'm not getting anything from this, so I think we lost like 30 or 40% of the following within 2 months. And the people that stayed, some of them but they haven't stopped educating people. And that tells you right there. There's more people that would rather have the next meal than learn how to put meals on the table for the rest of their life. What an obscure concept. I wish there was a cliche that sounded something like that people could identify with. I don't know, maybe we should make it about a fish and a technique or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe more people would have grasped it, because 5 years later, and people like yourself, because like you said at the beginning, you were kind of just an observer. I think you actually won a few things as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like
right at the beginning.
I had proof of concept very early on.
I think you had actually made a comment about that years ago, and then, when the reboot of the group, people could enroll again, you got involved, and all along the way, you've never had a negative mindset. During the pandemic, you weren't spewing conspiracies. You were just like, okay, I'm in not a great position. I'm going to be in a better, I'm going to reform that. I'm going to recalculate my life. I'm going to adapt. Next month, I'm going to be better. 3 months, I'll be better. A year from that, I'm better. And every time we sat down for coffee, you were indeed better.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to take a little bit of credit for that after all of our conversations, but most of it was because you weren't going to take, I'm in a shitty situation, and drag that out for the rest of your life. Because everybody's in a shitty situation at some point. But how long do you want that shitty situation to last? And every time we talked, you started out from, basically, if you don't mind me bringing, you're like, I got to figure out how to make a mortgage payment, like a rent type thing that most people do, to, I'm starting another business. Oh, I get to leave behind my old job and take control of how many hours I put in and the result I get from it. And then a year and a half ago, you became a member. And since then, you've played at a much higher level. People don't need to know the specifics, but I would call that pretty decent financial growth, equitable growth. So the time is what was important. The knowledge that comes from applying what you've learned over time. Wealth is simply effort multiplied by time, and that's where the average person doesn't get anything, because they're not willing to put in the time. Everybody's willing to put in a day, a week, a month of effort. But if they don't get paid next month, I'm out.
I see it pop up in my own career, because each year comes with a different obstacle, and the way to get over the obstacle is to kind of trust the path and keep moving forward. I've had to pivot at times. I've had to diversify every single year. But that mindset is a differentiator, and then being part of the group is kind of securing that mindset, so that the mindset is always constant. And so you can apply yourself to the mindset and have results consistently, even if you have to adapt and shift and learn new things and realize where you were wrong before and stuff like that.
How important of a change do you think it was in mindset when you learned debt was good if applied properly? I know in your own situation, you had gotten involved in a project that you went and used the line of credit. Would you be, you don't have to give the numbers, maybe the interest rates, but would you be comfortable elaborating on using debt? The two numbers, you don't have to give the number that you used on the line of credit, but what the percentage was, what it initially was, how it decreased over time, and the spread that you were generating on borrowed money. Because most people think debt is terrible, but I think you're a perfect example, because this is something you had done recently in just the last couple of years. You're in a position where you couldn't spend anything, and then you were in a position where good credit allowed you to use a financial system that everybody else has access to. Could you explain it in your words? Because it's normal in big business, it's normal in global finance. Can you explain it from a person who just recently shifted, or recently as in last 4 years, shifted from employee to entrepreneur? How did you use debt?
So what I've learned as an entrepreneur is to take emotion out of decisions and make decisions based off data.
That's good. I like that.
So when I was looking at that situation, I had that track record of understanding like how you guys go about everything that you do. And I understood the math, and then I understood ways to leverage what you're proposing more. And then if I was uncomfortable with like that debt accumulation, then I would just simply have to create a strategy to pay it off faster than most people. And so then I set up automated payments from my bank account so that it would get out of my bank account before I knew it was there. And then I had a plan to pay it off in a certain timeline, and that made it more comfortable for me. And fortunately, like I calculated it to have a heavier impact on me as far as cost of interest goes, and the market shifted to have lesser
interest
impact.
rates have gone down for the last 22 months.
Yeah, like it went from 11% down to like 8%.
So you saved 3 points. You factored for the worst, and it got better.
Yeah, but I definitely, like, when I was making my calculation, I calculated it as if interest rates were going to be 15%.
Oh, smart.
And it was still profitable. So I took the emotion out. It's scary to do things. It's scary to be self-employed. Took the emotion out, looked at the facts, and the nerves that I had, I was able to stuff them down by realizing, well, if I pay a certain amount per week onto this, I have nothing to be afraid of, and it's money that's making money for me.
Now, this might be private, you don't have to say it, but what, in this particular transaction, this we'll call it investment that you made, what was the spread over what the financial institution or the bank was charging you an interest and what you were returning, your ROI? You don't need the dollar amount, just the percentage amount, so we can understand the spread on the bank's money. Not your money. You're responsible for the debt, but what you're generating with the borrowed money.
So, like, taking what that investment made and subtracting, like, the cost of
just what it's returning, what percent it's returning versus what it's costing you to hold the money.
Yeah, it's returning 30% and costing 8 to 11%. Is that what we're kind of talking about?
Okay, so you're in worst case in that scenario, you're 19% up, and in best case scenario at 8%, or maybe it even goes lower, you're 22% year over year.
Yeah.
And it's not even your money that you've used. This is where people don't understand wealth. People think that the wealthy just have pools of money. Anyone that knows anything about inflation or economics knows that you do not hold money because it's worth less day after day, year after year. Wealthy people have no money. They have assets that they borrow against and invest. So everybody can understand getting a home equity line of credit. And if it's secured against a house, you'll get an even lower rate, like prime plus one, prime plus two. So you're at like 5.5%, 6.5%. That's just what the wealthy do. They have bigger assets to get more equity out of, and it keeps the interest low. So they go and they make their 20 to 40% by borrowing at 5 to 6. And the bigger the number of equity, the higher your return is. And if you don't take it as personal income, it just grows somewhere, then it compounds. And you never have to pay taxes until you sell those assets. It's not tax evasion. You just haven't had an income. Your value just goes up. This is where the average mind and the wealth mind differ. There is no cheating the system. There's just playing within the system and the knowledge that you have. You applied it as a first effort into using debt, and you've got a giant spread there. Like those are incredible numbers. Like even someone like Warren Buffett says he doesn't do anything for less than 15%. And you're beating that. You don't have to answer to anyone like Buffett does to his board of directors and shareholders and such, but you can make a decision based on yourself to benefit yourself. And other people just want to say it's just not possible. And we've kind of shown you that 30% is kind of a barrier for entry when we've shown you what development can do. But no one wanted to listen. So we're kind of at the impasse that we are now. But I really, like I said, I really appreciate it. So really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.